Welcome to FaBled Hunters.
I'm Yuanji.
I'm Saint.
And today we're gonna have just, like an art appreciation episode.
Yeah, for no reason, no apparent reason whatsoever.
Unfortunate, we're in the middle of spoiler season, but we're appreciating art today.
Yes, absolutely. Appreciating some awesome art.
Saint, have you heard of Klug altars?
Of course, Klug altars. Eric Klug. I always pronounced it Klug.
Klug?
Yeah.
Klug? You guys tell us which is the right way.
Yeah.
But I don't know, have you dabbled much in altered cards? I know that you primarily are there to collect pristine copies of older cards.
Absolutely. I do not go out of my way to collect altered cards. Once in a while, altered cards come through in some collections.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've been given a couple of altered cards in Flesh and Blood, and I try to be kind and just accepting of especially of gifts, because that's just accepting goodwill. But I mean, in terms of my prior MTG collecting and general fab collecting, I'm probably the most vanilla, missionary position collector possible, and I just stick with that. However, I do know of Eric Klug, and I have enjoyed his, just viewing his pieces, and there has even he's gotten so notorious. I don't want to say notorious, but well known and well appreciated, renowned. Yes, well renowned. That's the word in the MTG secondary market, that there has become even premiums for Klug altars.
Yeah, because if you were to go get one of these altars yourself, you'd be paying for the level of quality. I actually first came upon Eric. There was, I think, an article from a while back. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you would maybe frown upon this, but I saw he had an article about how he was doing restorations for older cards, and the effects of time, use, wear and tear can make some cards frankly look terrible. And it takes me back, I think one of the first things that you said when we first started making the channel, you're you want to be a fab or TCG archaeologist. And
for sure.
And finding the specimens. Well, actually, also in the work of the archaeology realm is restoring and
restorations
and making older pieces come back to life. And I saw there was he did this with a Mox Ruby, and then also you can
multiple Moxes, right?
Yeah.
I think Jet Emerald Ruby. I don't know if he touched any Sapphires, but he's been in there with a bunch of iconic Power 9 pieces, right?
Yeah, and so I wanted to get back to the first thing that you were talking about, how there's a kind of premium.
Mm-hmm.
So I first got introduced to the world of altars. I think pretty much everybody likes to post before WotC just started releasing, extended art, borderless, whatever. Every single card comes in this form. It was having an extended art card was kind of a special kind of thing. And I remember one of the very first types of altars that I saw people were doing was just simple, you paint around the borders, you extend it out. But there's levels to this, right? And so I wanted everyone to kind of take a look at some of the work that Eric has done. This goes beyond just
simple altars,
making extending the borders. He's doing artistic references to classical art pieces. He's doing things that are vastly changing the the look of the card. It still feels it's the Michelin Man. He's a Colossus.
Well, the Ghostbusters Stay Puft Marshmallow Man of Blightsteel Colossus. That's kind of what Blightsteel Colossus was. He was huge, and he would just go on a rampage. But then this guy, retains that whole thematic feel of the Blightsteel Colossus card and references it to pop culture. Mid-'80s Stay Puft Marshmallow Man of, I think, Ghostbusters 2? 1? I forgot which Ghostbusters. Maybe in both.
And so I didn't know before we started shooting this episode, he has some stuff that's calling back to old school fantasy comic books. But Eric, I think he did an interview with Star City Games a long time ago, and he's talking about one of the things that he takes a lot of pride in as somebody who is professionally trained in art. It's not just going around and doing art. Not to say that you can't, but with the additional training comes another level of quality of thought that goes into like constructing these pieces.
For sure, for sure. And he's known as, at least in the MTG world, literally one of the best to be in this line of work. I know there are up and coming individuals in Flesh and Blood that are doing Flesh and Blood altars.
Yep.
But Klug, that name is just synonymous with altars in Magic the Gathering, and he's literally done everything, just everything. That Soul Ring is just insane. The Mayan Calendar Soul Ring. Earlier, there was, I think,
Like a
the
card.
simulacrum with the art from Metropolis, one of the most iconic and well-known movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Simulacrum. That was from like a 1920s movie, which is hugely popular in film. I think Metropolis is part of the inspiration for like Blade Runner and some other cyborg dystopian type of thematic worlds in film. So it's and Terminator too. I think Terminator has some influences.
Dude, this one like legit looks like you took a picture from the movie.
Yeah,
but this is all like, hand drawn like art. It's kind of crazy.
yeah, it is, and drawn on a card.
Yeah.
And what's really fascinating is that I think Klug has been around for maybe 8 to 10 years, at the very minimum. And what's really interesting is that he's never been the named artist on a card.
That's true.
On a Magic card.
That's true. And I don't know what the whole process is like, but I'm surprised. This is a guy who has clearly a lot of like artistic skill. I wonder what would happen like if a game commissioned.
Right? If a publisher recognized this guy's talent and put him to work and actually gave him his first shot at a card.
Oh, look, we also got an email.
Yeah, we did.
And who's that on the bottom?
Yeah, who is that on the bottom?
Looks like it's Eric.
Yes, Eric Klug, 2023 Legend Story Studios, coming in with, I didn't know we were going to do it this early in the episode, but the Figment of Rebirth.
When the first Prism, the young Prism, got spoiled, I think from the Singapore Calling.
Yep.
And everyone's like, ooh, what's a Figment? This or that. And a lot of the theory is like, oh, it's going to be like Ash, whatever. I thought it was just going to be like a 1-card thing. This is a 4-cost card, which means that, it's like on the power, or like LSS thinks it's on the power level of, like one of Prism's auras.
Yep. At the same time, this 4-cost card brings immediate benefit just when it enters.
Yeah, so let's
right?
take a look at what it says. It's a legendary. You can only have one in your deck. And it says, when this enters the arena, you may put a yellow action card from your graveyard on top of your deck.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like cool things that I think you can do, things that interact at the top of your deck. You get to set up your turns.
Yep.
And I don't know, like, that doesn't seem like it's worth, 2.5 cards to play. Obviously, if you get it for free off of the Prism ability, I don't know. Something's missing.
Well, okay. Well,
something's missing.
You could definitely tell that it's an instant, which is awesome. It gives it value, meaning that you could just beam it in whenever. It's got on the bottom descriptor, it's got Figment in it, so
yeah, the new
it already
type.
it already fulfills the keyword of a certain new mechanic for Dusk Till Dawn. It's Yellow Pitch, which is thematic, and Yellow Pitch, Yellow Stripe in Prism and Illusionist.
Yeah.
And it's also very, it's legendary. It's not legendary just because it mimics or is adjacent to kind of like the MTG regrowth mechanic of, recurring something from your graveyard. There's more to this. But however, you did want to mention the artwork itself because we are here appreciating Eric Klug, right?
Yeah, so this is kind of like a stained glass type treatment. There's a little sprout growing out of a skull. There's this idea of rebirth, and actually we did some research before.
We did.
Trying to see this kind of like stained glass. What's like the history of this type of style?
Yes,
in
the
cards?
parallel to Magic the Gathering, which we both have a probably decently lengthy history and experience in. And I was like, Yuanji, I don't remember any iconic cards with stained glass on it. right?
Yeah, I think the first thing that you came to was like the history of Benalia.
Yeah, for sure. History of Benalia from the OG Dominaria before Dominaria was like re-released, or that name was used in like 15 other sets and other products.
This was, I think, one of the powerhouse cards of the set, although still quite a recent set.
Yeah.
In the history
2018, 2019,
in the
I think.
history of Magic.
There was War of the Spark, right?
Yeah, War of the
Spark. The Liliana Dreadhorde General, I think her plus I think there was a chase version of Nicol Bolas, right? So those are cool, but I mean, other than that, which, you know, brings those instances to mind, there's just so few stained glass examples that really resonated. And I mean, we had to literally look back and check our receipts back to the first 8 sets, and it wasn't until literally Legend. So you skipped Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, Revise, Arabian Nights, Antiquities, and we looked, and the first stained glass piece was Revelation, and it just felt meh. You know, if Kaja and Phil Foglio are very talented artists, but the art piece of Revelation just looks so plain Jane.
I mean, this was like a period in time also when I think that the art direction for Magic the Gathering was more, you know, like fluid. It was less like intentional. They just like had, oh, these are cool pieces, let me put them on cards.
Absolutely. And however, to just quickly revisit what we had done or saw during our research, you had mentioned that art pieces like, for example, Emerald Dragonfly or Pixie Queen by Quentin Hoover almost looked like stained glass. So that theme was there, especially from the Quentin Hoover pieces, where I said he had very distinct pen lines. I've said in other episodes. There was also Richard Thomas, who was very famous for like the Wall of Air, Wall of Water, Wall of Fire, and Alpha, which had a similar style, which could be kind of correlated to a stained glass-ish style, but this Revelation was literally 1994. This was the first instance where they used literal stained glass, and then afterwards, you know, some elements came in here and there, like Innistrad, right?
Yeah, there's like this big element in the Innistrad world where there's like references to like the Church of Avacyn. So there's all these like church iconography elements. There's the stained glass of Avacyn. Then in a later card, like this like window gets broken. There's like a bit of a story there between the cards. But you know, it's one of those things where I think Flesh and Blood has only recently been going into, you know, these types of references, and I think that they haven't, like, other than like, because we're in the Monarch, it's not like a block, but they said like there's like a trilogy or like a 3-set, like, I guess, like piece that they wanted to do for like the War of the Monarch. I guess Solana, the Monastery, you get these types of elements: good, evil, who's actually good, who's evil. There's some Leviah spoilers where Leviah is called Leviah Redeemed.
Okay.
I don't know what that means. And somebody else, I think it was, I don't want to say incorrectly, but I believe that it was Red Zone Rogue. He's like really into the lore of Flesh and Blood, where he is like, the story behind it is that the first, like one of the first like researchers in Solana found out that the light was actually like trying to take control of the people, but then all of like the faithful drove him out, and then he is the one who started the monastery.
Oh, really?
So there's like there's this kind of who's the real bad guy type of elements.
Kind of like art mimicking real life right now with those you know, asset management firms and the World Economic Forum, right? Who's the real good guys? Who's the real bad guys? Yeah. You don't know. There's multiple sides to the story. Yeah.
So I think it's pretty cool that they're making this type of, you know, call to this like religious-esque.
Yeah, to draw it back, the stained glass theme, just like on the Dusk Till Dawn, you know, playmat at the recent events, that's all stained glass. The box is stained glass as well, right? And there's a lot of stained glass art pieces. So this is a new beginning. And well, before I continue, what do you think about the piece itself as a piece of art?
I would say that to me the style is a little bit more like subdued compared to some of the things that we saw. Like Eric's work can definitely be a lot more technical, a lot more detailed.
Okay.
But I think they went for like a more like simple kind of like style, and I think that has to do with the fact that maybe like the front, like this Figment card is supposed to be unassuming. It's supposed to, like, the effect itself, like I said at the beginning, it doesn't seem like it's worth a card.
Okay.
So it's playing off of that, where looks like kind of a basic card. That's what I'm getting.
Interesting. Okay, well, first off, I mean, I think the art looks on theme, right? Because Rebirth, kind of like what I said about Regrowth, what Regrowth did was take a card from your graveyard back to your hand.
Yep.
And it was hugely iconic. It was so strong that it was legendary, or we called it restricted back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And this does the same thing. Note the skull, and out of the skull, out of the soil comes a rebirth, comes the little seed, right? Or the sprout that pops up. I had asked a couple of high-end MTG collector friends who had had pieces by Eric Klug, and I only on my phone just quickly showed them the art, and they're like, wait, he's actually starting, like, his first card of all things, he's doing a simple stained glass piece, and they were a little disappointed. They just didn't understand context, and they're not fab people.
Yeah.
But they're like, wow, and you kind of, I don't want to anchor on that feeling. You were kind of like, it's a little simple for Klug's renown. It is a little simple, but I have to, and I did disagree. I did defend him. I was like, wait, this is appropriate because it's a sprout. It's just the beginning. And I would say it's nearly impossible that Legend Story Studios only commissioned Eric Klug to have one piece. This is symbolic of just a fresh beginning of his first piece.
I see what you're getting.
And I think it's right, and it needs to be simple because, like you said, Figment of Rebirth needs to come across as unassuming, right?
Yeah. And, completely unrelated, we pulled up another artist.
Yes, another artist.
Yeah, Soyame.
Irene Francisco?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's done quite a few important pieces in the Monarch world.
Yep.
So she did Bounding Demagon, and then Doomsday.
Yep. Eerie. Doomsday's a legendary, so that's huge.
Yeah.
Right?
And you get all of this, like, kind of, like, gory, kind of scary Soul Harvest, this type of art style.
Soul Harvest, I looked at that, I was like, what the heck is going on? Is this, like, 90s evil tentacle anime, or is this like something that they're trying to make Levia look a little sexy or deadly or a little bit of both?
Yeah.
I'm confused by looking at that piece even to date, and it's it's a Levia specialization. I don't know if it's playable, but it had a lasting impact.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I was like, whoa, something weird's going on. She's really deadly. Yeah. Right?
More recently, and I believe we talked about this a bit, Iron Song Pride, I think when we looked at this.
Yeah.
You and I, like, disagreed at the time. I think somebody made it 2 cards in this set. There was this card. We were all hyped about it because, it's a Dorinthia card.
Yeah.
And
I still think it's playable. I think it is playable.
No, it is
playable.
But that it's like, this is going to be, the thing that fixes Dorinthia. And then we see this card, Leave No Witnesses, which is really quite a strong card in Flesh and Blood, like one of the premium assassin cards. And we, like, kind of disagree. Is it the same person? Is it not the same person? What is LSS trying to tell us with art, and how they use art a lot of the times as, like a storytelling element as well?
Yeah, well, my tinfoil hat theory is still that Arachne is the first assassin is Arachne, right? Arachne is a girl. This is Arachne, right? She infiltrated the ranks of the Knights Templar of Solana, or whatever that's supposed to be, the Iron Song family, or the Iron Song tribe, and she's just a badass. So Arachne's a girl, she's a badass, and that's what these pieces are letting us know. Still unproven. Still tinfoil
unproven.
hat territory.
Yeah.
Still unproven.
And then more recently, Soyama's done, the art for Young Azuri,
Young Azuri,
which is much less gory and
still has the background of Katsu or Mystery, right?
Less gory, less confusing, I guess, for you.
And
one
less confusing for me, much less confusing, the Redback Shroud, which is like, how you doing type of, art piece, and very iconic. It actually gives me feelings of a callback to the extended art tunic, because just like the cold foil, you can't see. Let's see if this, thankfully FabDB shows the whole thing where you could see her face, which is, it looks like the Iron Song Pride girl plus the Leave No Witnesses girl in a Redback Shroud. And she's, little subtle va-va-voom going on there. It's nice and iconic and a cool piece.
We had an exchange, I think, when this card first got spoiled, and I sent the picture to Sane, and I was like, Sane, what do you think of this card? And you're like freaking out, like, oh my god. And I said that I thought that this was going to be kind of like, when all things are said and done in a couple of years, this was going to be like the chase card of this set.
But I agreed with you.
Yeah, no,
completely.
Yeah.
I still think it's a chase card set. I still think it's undervalued. If I had more energy to collect, I would probably, I'm not going to say buy this card out, but I'd amass
pick up a couple copies.
I'd amass a significant collection,
couple hundred copies
of Redback Shroud EA.
Yeah.
So, I'm still working on my other collectible fab projects right now, deep in it.
Yeah.
But when I finish, there's going to be a day. The viewers that watch this, mark my words, there's going to be a day. But yes, this is a really cool card. So Soyame is already, making waves in the art world, and making her mark in Flesh and Blood art.
I wanted to just go over quite a varied art style. She has her own Instagram page where she does a lot of art for I think
Genshin. I was gonna say Genshin Impact.
Yeah.
I don't play Genshin Impact, but she's literally an artist for Genshin Impact.
Yeah, I don't know if they're all official.
Like that
arts.
fourth girl in the pink, I was like, that is totally Genshin Impact, and it literally is.
Yeah, there's Genshin Impact, and she also has done some art for like Demon Slayer.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't think it. I don't know which. This is definitely not official art, but it's like her rendition of things that are influenced. So she also is, I think, quite a good I would say a technical artist.
Yeah.
And just randomly bringing it.
We're just randomly covering Eric Klug and Soyame.
Oh, what's this?
What is that?
Looks like there's a card, Soyame.
Yeah.
Same number as the Figment.
Same number.
So
fancy that.
Avalon, Archangel of Rebirth.
Archangel of Rebirth.
And,
yes.
And so wow, this is I think the first time that we're seeing what a Figment is. At least as of the filming. I don't know any other Figments.
Yeah, as of the filming, it hasn't been spoiled yet, but this is what a Figment presumably turns into or awakens into.
Yeah, so
right?
I think that there's the what's it called? There's how in Monarch there's all of these different heralds. There's Herald of Protection, Rebirth, Tenacity, Ravages, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I think that each one of those heralds gets their angel.
Okay.
War Tune Herald, I think, is Bologna or whatever.
The one that was spoiled in Pro Tour.
Yeah,
right?
and I think, I don't know why, but they're all just categorized. They're not illusionists allies, they're light angel allies.
Angel allies, okay.
Yeah.
And they're presumably all legendary, right? Because Bologna's legendary, right? Soraya's legendary.
So the Figments are legendary. So I mean that's gonna control how many that you can put in your deck. But let's look at the effects of Avalon, the Archangel of Rebirth, and let's look at this version, which is I presume to be the Marvel version. Let's take a look at that.
Well, presume there's a little purple triangle which tells you there is a Marvel version.
Yeah. So probably going to be a Marvel. The set number revealed that I think they said 11.
It might be 11 Marvels.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something like that. There's a lot of Marvels in this compared to.
Well, yeah. Now you know what's taken up a lot of that Marvel real estate.
Yeah,
just like in Uprising, what took up much of the Marvel real estate, which is the dragons.
Yeah.
right?
So I think one of each, and it's going to be I want to get your thoughts on the collecting right after this. Let's read what she does. She says, once per turn action, you spend 2 resources to attack.
Okay.
Has 4 power, 4 health as the ally, and then it says, when an Avalon attacks, you may banish a card from your hero's soul. If you do, put a yellow card from your graveyard on top of your deck. So, quite interesting. It says a yellow card, doesn't say action card.
Mm-hmm.
So you can... This is actually like quite a rare thing in Flesh and Blood to be able to reuse
non-attack action
cards. So like you put like Soul Shield.
Yep.
You can put auras
like
back on top.
Defense reactions.
Yeah, like you can put if they're yellow.
Like an Arclight Sentinel too.
You put Arclight Sentinel, dude. If you just like you put Arclight Sentinel, you attack with it. You put it on top, then you play it. They hit it, and you play it again. Attack with it.
Is that a little too gangster?
A little loop action going.
But like Infinity Arclight Sentinels, and you could stall out the game until you get like the Great Library of Solana, and then mana flood the opponent, or out mana the opponent, out edge the opponent on mana and draws, right?
Yeah, maybe like
you could use this in conjunction with so many things.
Yeah, so there's
right?
there's a lot of like little cool things that you can imagine that you can do, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you do need to keep banishing cards from your soul, so it's limited by your soul as a resource.
Okay.
But I don't know, even like using Arclight Sentinel like twice seems
even getting
crazy.
one additional, going from 3 Arclight Sentinels in a CC deck to the ability to pop it out a 4th turn.
Yeah.
Basically like time walk or / stall out your opponent for a whole turn.
Mm-hmm.
That is crazy, right?
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what the Prism deck kind of looks like. There's some Phenos getting the Adult Prism teaser. We don't know if it's going to be the same or going to be different than the Young Hero, but I am pretty excited about this set.
Mm-hmm.
I think this set, from all the things that I've seen so far, they're trying to do something new, something different. They're trying to spice up, the formula of the game a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
where I think one of the good things about the game, but also like a little bit too stable, is that the game follows, like a set play pattern. It's like a lot of math. It's a lot of, optimizing. But now it seems like they're trying to throw curveballs. They're adding like more complex mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
They're adding more creative things. Like we just thought about like doing the Arclight Sentinel loop.
Yep.
Like creating new things for players to try to put together, and that I think is really exciting.
Well, all I can say is I was always a disliker of Prism.
Yeah.
But this is 1 out of potentially 9 giga broken mechanics because of legendaries that Prism seems to be adding to her arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I didn't like her before because Arclight Sentinel just gimps Dorinthia,
you're gonna get
then
again.
I'm gonna like her even less now. That maybe I should just play her at this point, right? But that's on the gameplay side.
So as just like a card to open, as a card to get, like when you open this up, you get in your pack,
Mm-hmm.
you pull a fan out to the back of the pack, you pull it, and it's this in cold foil.
Yep.
What are your thoughts?
The Marvel we're saying, right?
Yeah.
I just have to say that this is a gorgeous card.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely appreciate from Legend Story Studios, whoever made the decision, whether it's James or Robbie or even Alex, to align us FaBled hunters with this card. I think Kyloria was very appropriate because he's a dragon hoarding treasure, right?
Yeah.
He was appropriate in terms of the dragons of one dragon, hoarding treasure. Kyloria was appropriate and it was a lot of fun, but this is spot on. This angel is super duper waifu status. And not only that, I mean, her name is Avalon, and we looked up Avalon. Avalon was literally the island which King Arthur drew Excalibur on, and it's also the island where King Arthur or the Knights of the Round table are to be buried. So Avalon is just, really, really iconic of a name, of a word in fantasy fiction. And I just can't keep my eyes off of the Marvel piece. This is a really attractive, really awesome art piece. But not only that, it is also understated, you know, like a sensual art piece. She's not va-va-voom like, for example, a Sarah Angel. The OG Douglas Schuler Sarah Angel was a lot more va-va-voom, like I said. She was out there with her cleavage hanging out, making her very iconic, very celebrated by all the early 90s to mid 90s Magic players, even, you know, just dudes worldwide.
Yeah.
But she feels to me a little more like a 7th edition Sarah Angel. So 7th edition Sarah, which is by Mark Zug, right? She's armored up, geared up, a little more photorealistic, which is kind of like what Avalon looks like, photorealistic. But I even want to contrast that Soyame seems to have put in multiple elements, like the background, the environmental element, just immediately triggered the environmental background of like a singing tree from Arabian Nights. You see all the greens and how that's used, like the textured feeling of the greens, nature focused. But at the same time, Avalon also anchors in some of the iconic named angels of Magic the Gathering to me. For example, there was the very famous, also celebrated Therese Nielsen version of Akrama, Angel of Wrath. Like, she's not supposed to be overtly sexual, but there's a little bit of sensuality there, but she's also ready to kick some ass, right? Because Akrama, I mean, flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, protection from black. She made a Baneslayer angel look like a nothing burger.
You know, there's a period in time when this would have been, it was like very impressive in Magic, but I think nowadays
it isn't. But I'm saying for her time.
No, at the time, I remember, because this is when I first started playing Magic. And it was just like so cool to open an Akrama and like you open like your Onslaught packs and you get one of this and it's like, wow, this is like everything on one card.
Everything like on one card, and it's basically your your victory condition. Unless they had like a Path to Exile or a Swords to Plowshares. Like you're done, because no red, no black. You're just done. Right? And haste. So it comes in like it's coming in.
It's kicking your ass.
It's kicking your ass right now and creating a 12-point life differential. But okay, about not just the playability, like it feels like Avalon is going to be one of the iconic angels of the game. Just like Akrama, just like who else was there? There was Avacyn, right? Avacyn, Angel of Hope. And I think she actually looks better than Avacyn. I personally didn't ever like that whole block. What block was that? Innistrad, yeah, because it was too dark and depressing. When the Angel of Hope, she's like kind of depressing, but she definitely looks like she can kick ass. And she definitely has the attributes to kick ass.
I think the front and the back half of the card do a good job of contrasting with each other. So you start with the front, the Figment, and it's like a little bit understated.
And there's the skull, right? The skull makes its way back.
It's like very like simple type of art style. Not poorly done, but just like simple. And then you get to like Avalon, and Avalon there's so much detail in the wings, the armor, like how the shadow interacts with her clothes, the background, and it's just like I feel like when it does like a good job when you're like transitioning in the game from starting out with this Figment into like flipping it over, getting the angel. I think what they're going for, like having the transformation, the growth into something like really cool, ready to kick your ass, get back the Arclight Sentinels. You're not going to have a good time.
And also, it's the Angel of Rebirth, so there's like this motherly energy with the earth, right? There's a lot of greens, like I said about that singing tree-esque background. You know, it's also very appropriate that they had a lady artist, you know, depict her, because usually angels, guy artists, it's a lot more on the side of like Weiss Schwartz, where there's va-va-voom, a lot of cleavage, a lot of, you know, sexuality. This is understated. There's that nurturing feeling where she's holding that skull like a mother and nursing it, you know, just like, hey, look, it's turning green, maybe something else will sprout out of it, right? And also, I just have to mention it because she's got some killer shoes, which looks like the Phantasmal Footsteps a little bit if you zoom in on the shoes, right? So for the salty whale, you know, shoe fetish, shoe collectors out there, you know, there's something for everybody. So Mr. Lamar will probably, presumably, collect many copies of her, because he's out there for the footsteps and the dynamos, I hear, right? So altogether, this is just a really awesome piece. I like it a lot. I don't know that I will collect like 1 million copies of her, but I'm definitely going to try to get this copy graded. She's a lot more compelling to me than, I think Bologna was her name, or Soraya. And at the same time, she can, you know, other lady artists like Therese Nielsen that have depicted angels. I was gonna say Rebecca Guay. This kind of has like a Rebecca Guay sensual lady flowing type of feel to the artwork, because Rebecca did Kaisa and she did a lot of other iconic pieces in MTG that have kick-ass ladies that are depicted, you know, very, very realistically. So I don't know what more I can say about these two faces of this card. It's really impressive. I'm just flattered that LSS has given us the opportunity to spoil it. I'm honored to have presented it, and I don't know, hopefully we have done it justice, Yuanji, right?
Yeah, and hopefully you guys have a lot of fun, you know, opening your Dusted On packs at pre-release, whatever, and maybe you'll get one of these Marvel Angels, because I don't know, I think it's going to be pretty sweet.
Yeah, for sure, pretty sweet. And yeah, Dusk Till Dawn is coming out on the 14th officially, but pre-release is on the 7th to 9th. So visit your LGSs, go to local regional events, wherever you may be, because this set looks like it is amazing.
Yeah, any closing thoughts?
I do have a closing thought, but for now, just remember to like, comment, subscribe, twiddle that notification button, support this guy on Patreon to learn more about the long game. And that's it for now. Bye. One more thing I just wanted to say, because I got my Middle Earth t-shirt out, everybody. For all you guys that went and bought Lord of the Rings Collectors and Magic the Gathering, your card prices, your singles prices are headed to Mordor and not going anywhere else anytime soon. So please support Flesh and Blood, support LSS, because this game, Dusk Till Dawn, is looking to be fire right now. I can't guarantee you anything on the TCG valuations, but the cards are amazing, the spoiler is amazing, the heroes are amazing, the new interactions and the freshness and the art looks to be amazing. So just support this game, everybody. Later. All right. I literally had to leave from work on a moment's notice as an emergency. This is an emergency. The day before our spoiler video came from Mr. J-Dubs himself at Legend Story Studios in Auckland, New Zealand. Uncle J-Dubs sent us something, right?
Right.
That's so cool. So this is gonna make the video. I'm so happy. This is, I think it's definitely in some part due to the efforts of Alex from the content creation team at Legend Story Studios, getting these items to us so we can fit this in the video. There is a rubbery thing. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow. That is so cool. It's an angel playmat. Dusk Till Dawn. What? There's no letter, but there's something. Oh. Take a look at door number 1. A diabolic offering. Star 1. Blue pitch. If a card with 6 or more attack has been put into your banished zone, this turn diabolic offerings attack and defense are 6. Otherwise, they are 0. Blood Debt. Okay, so that's a promo card. 164 Fab, 164 Carlos Cruchaga. That's really cool. Okay, and it's a cold foil. Thank you for this promo diabolic offering. That looks cool. 6 attack, 6 defense. Interesting card. Now we have, oh, this is our spoiler card. Thank you again. Thank you so much, Legend Story Studios, for the spoiler card. Figment of Rebirth. That's a Marvel. This is the Marvel. The Marvel card. Eric Klug, right there. Eric Klug, the artist. Light Illusionist Instant Figment. There's oh, that's on the sleeve, but oh man, I'll just take it out one time. Wow, look at that. Stained glass in cold foil. Looks so amazing. What do you think about this art, little baby?
It looks cool.
It looks cool. Shiny, right? All right. And then the Piece de la Resistance. What? What? A cold foil Marvel. So, what do you think about the Angel?
I like the angel.
You like the Angel?
Are both of these angels the same?
What do you mean?
Are both of these angels the same?
This is a different angel. We're not learned about this angel, but this is our angel. This is the FaBled Hunter's angel. Her name is Avalon. Isn't that so beautiful? Wow. Okay, so that's it. Thanks so much for getting us this card in time. The video's already recorded, so when you see this, you'll have already seen the video. Hope you like it. Really excited to give a spoiler for Dusk Till Dawn. Super excited that we got to spoil this amazing artwork. Front by Eric Klug, back by Soyame. Soyame right there. Thank you again, Legend Story Studios. Thank you, Mr. White. Thank you, Mr. Robbie. And thank you, Alex, for keeping us on the roster, for being approved content creators. Appreciated, LSS, and flesh and blood for life, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Say bye. She knows. Say bye.